Today on America's Court with Judge Ross.
I lived with her. She drove me nuts. Like I said, it was 3 long years. The nagging, complaining, accusations.
Okay, but why was I like that, though?
Because
Michael,
that's
tell
you.
me why was I like that?
Stop. Boss Ross asks the questions up in here. The whole purpose behind law is to right wrong. I want justice to be something that isn't this foreign concept.
Justice knows no boundaries. The truth will be heard. Fair, firm, compassionate. This is America's Court with Judge Ross. Kimberly Gates is suing ex-boyfriend Michael Taylor in the amount of $2,300 for repairs to her automobile she says he caused while under the influence of marijuana.
All rise, remain standing and come to order. This court is now in session. The Honorable Judge Kevin Ross presiding.
Ladies and gentlemen, you may be seated.
All parties been sworn, Your Honor.
Thank you, Deputy Thomas. Kimberly Gates, you're suing Michael Taylor for $2,300 based on some car damage, correct?
Correct.
All right, ma'am. What's going on here? Prove your case.
Okay, well, I'm suing Michael for $2,300 for damages to my car that he has not paid one dime for.
How did he end up with your car to begin with?
Okay, well, me and Michael, we've been dating for 3 years.
3 long years.
3 long years.
3 long years.
All right, well,
Whatever.
hold on a moment. You decided to be in a relationship with this woman for 3 years, correct?
Correct. We
Nobody
were in love.
was twisting your back or telling you you couldn't leave, right?
Once I was there, she was doing all that.
She was doing all that, but you're a big boy. If you needed to leave or if you weren't happy, you could have gone. Why'd you stay?
We were in love, sir.
Okay, so then if you were in love, that means you were in love with her.
Yeah, and everything that happens during the times of love, they happen.
Okay, and so what happened here, ma'am?
Anyway, so we were together. I fell in love with him. He was very charming in the beginning. He was very charming, swept me off my feet. He's a real estate agent, so
Okay.
his income goes in up and down, up and down. And then the money went down.
Okay.
And I suggested to Michael, I said, well, how about you move in with me and sell your car? He has my car. He's a pothead.
So you throwing a lot. You're throwing some fastballs at me now.
very vague
All right,
term,
so
sir.
you decided to sell your car.
Yes, I was
And
against
how old
it
are
at
you?
first. I'm 31, sir.
Okay, you're 31. And how long had you been driving, sir?
I've been driving 14 years. Sir.
All right, since you were a teenager.
Yes,
And are you used to having your own transportation?
definitely.
All right, so when you gave up your car, how were you getting around?
Well, she actually works in retail.
Okay.
So as I would go around, I would drop her off at work, do my real estate, go ahead and show houses, and come back home.
And then pick her up.
Pick her up. So it worked out well.
You were living on your own.
No, I was, but actually things started to go not so
The
well.
market wasn't doing so great.
Exactly.
I understand.
Didn't really want to tell her the details, but I wasn't closing as many homes as I should have been.
Were you still trying to wine and dine her?
Not as much once we moved in together. We were in love, sir, so we decided to
So
share
you moved
everything.
in, you're saving some money, he's driving your car. Now, where does the pothead thing come into play?
Sir, I can answer that. Man, honestly, I lived with her. She drove me nuts. Like I said, it was 3 long years. The nagging, complaining, accusations.
Okay, but why was I like that, though?
Because
Michael,
that's
tell
you.
me why was I like that?
Stop. Boss Ross asks the questions up in here.
Thank you,
Okay.
Judge Ross. Thank you,
Okay.
Your Honor.
I'm gonna wait.
What were you doing to cause her to nag at you?
Well, you know, I have a
No, I don't know.
I have
That's
a
what I'm
very
asking.
friendly relationship with my clients. I like to have as many clients as I can.
Okay, you are talking to a man. You were having some interests, clearly, in clients that were of the female persuasion. Is that accurate?
Yeah, I don't
So
know.
if these women were thinking that somehow you were interested in them, you would
Yes.
use that to get this deal.
Hey,
And did you ever cross the line of business and pleasure?
no,
Yes.
sir, because
Yes.
we were living together, sir. The pressure to sell homes made me do anything to sell homes. As I would come home, she would say, "Where have you been? Where are you going with my car? You say you're selling homes. Why haven't you sold any? Where were you at, really?" So she's always accusing me of cheating because one thing happened in the past. So as I come home,
One thing happened in the past that caused her to say, I'm not crazy, you
Yes.
have cheated on me.
yes, it's true.
All right. So then
And-
at that point, whatever she says, you've already validated that there's something there.
Yes, and her accusations of the marijuana, I do have a medical marijuana license. You know, it helps me deal with the anxieties and the stress. You know, as a real estate agent, I actually have to be confident.
When people use chemical substances to alter their state, you're escaping.
Somewhat. But the pressure that comes from Miss Kim over there to succeed,
I'm not talking about her.
to make money.
I'm not talking about her.
Okay, the pressure that I put on myself as well.
Stop. This is about you, because you're the one that has the anxiety. Were you feeling depressed at the time because you weren't making the money that you used to make?
Definitely.
Okay.
Definitely.
So you were
having
feeling
that.
a little anxious,
A little bit.
and some of your manhood you felt like maybe it was taken away?
A lot of it.
A lot of it.
It reminded me of being 11 years old again with my grandmother and my mother. Where are you going? Where have you been? I fell in love with someone, and she reminded me of my mom when I got there, and I didn't like it.
Coming up on America's Court with Judge Ross.
Why did you run the stop sign?
Well, sir, I was at a friend's house. We were having a medicinal moment to try to alleviate some of the
You were being a
stress.
pothead.
And later,
I'm crawling in this crawl space, heading towards where I think the breaker is, and I hear a bit of a crack, and then the next second I'm on her floor, the floor below.
closed captioning provided by. This is America's Court with Judge Ross. We're back with the case of Kimberly Gates, who is suing ex-boyfriend Michael Taylor after she says he wrecked it while high on pot.
There's some other issues going, but the dispute is actually about this car.
The car, he actually ran a stop sign, and it was hit.
Someone hit you, but you ran a stop sign.
Yeah, but it was actually her fault at the same
And,
time.
and why
How
did
was
you
it
run?
my fault?
Wait, why did you run the stop sign, sir?
Well, sir, I was at a friend's house. We were having a medicinal moment to try to alleviate some of
You
the
were being a
stress.
pothead.
It was being a pothead.
Self-medicating, as we like to
Right.
call it.
Okay.
Okay. But again, she's calling me, texting me, where are you at?
Is that true? Were you doing that?
I was, because
Yeah.
it was my car. I wanted my car. And yes, I was calling him. Yes, I'm controlling, but he made me that way.
And your insurance basically said it was the driver of your vehicle's fault. That's why they're not covering the damage.
Right, because I only have liability insurance, and so it was drivable.
And you were under the influence at the time, sir?
I was trying to stay where I was.
That's
Okay.
a question.
Were you under the influence when you're operating the vehicle?
Yes.
Okay. You were under the influence while you were operating a vehicle. That's illegal.
Yes.
You made the decision, willingly, knowingly, understandingly, to get behind the wheel of a vehicle. You
True.
got this vehicle damaged, whether it was because of the other person hitting you, but the bottom line is you ran a stop sign. So it's your fault. Why aren't you paying the woman?
Because over the past year, it hasn't really been a problem, sir. We've gotten
Stop.
past all our
You're
issues.
dead wrong. You're dead wrong.
I have
want you-
evidence of how my car looks.
Let me see the vehicle. Sir,
Okay, and also I have the repair bills of how much that I'm suing for.
got it. This was the damage. Let's see the vehicle on the plasma. You could have killed yourself, sir.
Definitely.
Okay. And these are the expenses in terms of the auto repair?
Yes,
The bumper, the clip, the grill, the headlights,
Yes.
the front hood.
yes.
Okay. Here's your three things.
Uh-oh.
You need to go to therapy.
Does counseling count?
You're not listening. You need to deal with these issues. And what you're going to find is there are some issues in terms of your dad, in terms of your mom, in terms of how you treat women and how you use them and how you leverage them to your own advantage. You got a lot of stuff that's going to start coming out, but it's going to make you a better man. Okay? You really should be thanking her because all she's doing is moving you toward the man you really want to be. Okay?
But she's crazy.
I agree with
Okay.
you. He should be
She's
thanked.
crazy, but she's a crazy person that had her car damaged, and you're going to pay for it. Judgment in favor of the plaintiff in the amount of $2,300. That is the order. We're done.
Judge Ross has ruled in favor of the plaintiff. The defendant is ordered to pay $2,300.
I mean, he ruled in favor of the woman and said everything was my fault and how I need to go to therapy. Fine, I'll deal with it.
I'm happy with the judge's decision. I finally get what's due to me, and I hope Michael learns his lesson.
And coming up,
And I'm crawling in this crawl space, heading towards where I think the breaker is, and I hear a bit of a crack, and then the next second I'm on her floor, the floor below.
closed captioning provided by. This is America's Court with Judge Ross. Julie Boone is suing Michael Adams in the amount of $460 to repair a hole she says he put in the ceiling of her family cabin. He is countersuing for $300 in medical bills.
All rise, remain standing and come to order. This court is now in session. The Honorable Judge Kevin Ross presiding.
Ladies and gentlemen, you may be seated.
All parties been sworn, Your Honor.
Thank you, Deputy Thomas. Julie Boone, you are suing Michael Adams for $460 based on damages to your cabin, correct?
Yes.
And Mr. Adams, so you're countersuing Ms. Boone for out-of-pocket expenses as well as medical injuries, correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, we're going to start with you, ma'am. Go ahead.
Your Honor, my ex-friend here decided to put a hole through my family's cabin ceiling. I invited him and a group of my friends up to celebrate my birthday.
At the cabin?
Yes.
How
at
many
the
people were
cabin.
invited?
7.
All right, so why did you invite Mr. Adams?
Well, we've known each other since high school. We've been friends, and I wanted to make my birthday special and invite, my close friends, which
All right.
he was.
So he's not
one of.
even just a friend, he's a close friend if you included him as a part of this entourage of 7, yes?
Yes.
And would you agree that you and Ms. Boone were close friends?
Were is a good word.
What happened, sir?
Well, she led us to believe that
Who is this gentleman?
this is my friend Josiah.
Sir, come up. What's your last name?
Reynolds.
Mr. Reynolds. All right. So, Mr. Reynolds, you were also there on the trip as well?
Yes, Your Honor.
Is that correct, Ms. Boone, that he was a part of the 7? So these are 2 close people.
Josiah was not. Josiah is a friend of Michael's.
Oh, you weren't there. He wasn't there at the...
He was there.
He was
She's
there.
just not very good friends with him.
Right. I told him he could invite a friend as well.
Okay, and then why did you invite Mr. Reynolds?
We work together. He's a good friend of mine. We have fun together. So.
All right, so there was 7 people, and tell me what happened.
Well, there were 7 people, and it was my family's cabin in the woods. We all were up there for a week, and when we got there, I guess a lot of people were expecting it to be like a 5-star cabin, and it's
That's
just,
what she told us, Your
it's,
Honor.
I
She
no,
told you
I
it was a
said
5-star
that it was
cabin.
a
She said
nice
there would be
cabin.
full amenities were her exact
No.
words.
Is that you're nodding your head as well?
Yes.
That
you were
is
part of
not
the
true.
conversation when she was talking about the cabin?
No, well, my friend Michael here, he's telling me,
I told him.
That is not true,
Well,
Your Honor.
what did Mr. Adams tell you as to why you would want to go?
that it's going to be a great time. It's going to be a really nice cabin in the woods. A bunch of people are going to get together, have a couple of drinks, sit around a campfire, the whole camping experience.
So you guys didn't have a good time?
I had a great time, except for when he fell through the ceiling and then just left the next day without saying bye.
Well, now tell me about the ceiling. What were you doing up in the ceiling to begin with?
The power went out. Yet another problem that we had at this cabin.
The power went out of the cabin.
On
Power
the third
went out.
day, we were.
Now,
we
was
were
there
drinking.
just a power outage in the area, or was it specifically just to this cabin?
I couldn't say. I would assume that it was probably just to this cabin the way the rest of the cabin was.
And what do you mean by that?
It was in poor condition. The whole cabin was a mess.
It wasn't
I
that
fell through
bad.
the
Me and my
ceiling.
family have gone up there every summer for the last 10 years. It's not that bad.
So you guys got up there. Now, I hear that they weren't really feeling the cabin. What about
Right.
the other people? Were they enjoying
At
it?
first, they were, it's not what they were used to. I'm sure they're used to going to nice beach vacations and hotels and stuff. But everybody got used to it. Everyone's like,
Alcohol.
yeah, let's make a.
Wait, what did you say?
Alcohol.
Alcohol.
Alcohol will make anything
Yes.
fun, or more
And
fun.
we decided, well, that's what we planned on doing anyways. It's my birthday. We wanted to party in the first place.
Oh, so is that why you ended up in the ceiling, because you were drinking?
No, absolutely not. No. I went
power
up
went
there
out.
because
Oh, you said the power went out.
upon her instructions, she told me to go check to see if I could flip the breaker box to get the power back on.
Now, prior to doing that, was everybody drinking?
Yes, Your Honor.
Yes.
And you
This
were drinking
was
as
around
well?
3 in
I
the
was also
morning.
drinking,
He
yes.
was already drunk.
Wait. This is 3 in the morning?
Correct.
And so up till 3 a.m., what are you all doing?
Just
Drinking, hanging
drinking,
out,
socializing, dancing. But he was not. He was off by himself in a corner, just with his bottle of whiskey, just drinking by himself.
And what were you doing, Mr. Reynolds?
Not the whole time.
I was flirting with some of the other girls, some of her friends at the party.
Okay, so it
but
was
I could
women-
tell he was miserable.
Why were you miserable?
It just wasn't what I expected. I thought it was going to at least have hot water.
Coming up on America's Court,
And I'm crawling in this crawl space, heading towards where I think the breaker is, and I hear a bit of a crack, and then the next second I'm on her floor.
closed captioning provided by. This is America's Court with Judge Ross. We're back with the case of Julie Boone, who is suing Michael Adams for home repairs.
Were you drunk? Can you say?
I had been drinking.
Okay,
I wouldn't describe myself.
All right, so you were drunk. The power goes out, and out of all the people, you're the person that's deemed to be with your whiskey.
I didn't deem him. I went over there because he was in his corner sulking. I felt bad, so I went over to talk to him to make him feel better. I was like, well, if you're that unhappy, you go ahead, take it upon yourself. If you want to try to fix the problem, go for it.
And in order to find, what are you trying to flip the
breaker,
main
yes, Your Honor.
breaker?
Yes.
And that's where you had to go. And you knew that? You knew
I did not know it was an attic at all. I
Okay.
had no idea. I've never had to flip power back on.
I
mean,
it. But
to
you knew
me,
what you needed
I
to
assumed.
do.
I assumed.
So
it was
you go up
probably
there, and what happens?
I go up there. You know, I've been in attics before. I've flipped breakers before. I was staying on the main beams of the attic because that's what you do to be safe. And I'm crawling in this crawl space, heading towards where I think the breaker is. And I hear a bit of a crack, and then the next second, I'm on her floor. One of the main support beams of the ceiling broke.
Is that true?
yes, that's true.
You said you had something. What do you have?
I do. I have a picture of the ceiling
Okay, let me see that. Did
of
you
my
hurt yourself?
family's cabin.
I did, Your
and
Honor.
my
I
voice.
actually have my
That's why your
medical
counter's
bills
suing.
here, as well as travel expenses and food
Please,
expenses.
Deputy Thomas, let me see his. Okay, so which way am I looking? Let me take a look at this on the plasma here so I can get it. Oh, I see the pipe here. Let me see if I can see. Okay, I can see it better. So, wow, that's pretty serious. Clearly, that you could have really hurt yourself.
And I did. That's the medical bills will show that.
They see. So you had to get an X-ray. No, wait, but you got. This is your credit card statement.
Yeah, the
You got
travel
all these other
expenses-
things highlighted for gas, the dinner, and then this is your damage in terms of you want him to pay for the damage done to the ceiling.
That's all, yeah, just for the ceiling of my family's place.
Seriously?
Absolutely.
Why
I went up there upon her instruction.
Judge Ross's verdict when America's Court returns. You're watching America's Court with Judge Ross. This is America's Court with Judge Ross.
So based on the evidence and testimony before this court and the countersuit, the guy was going to come down in favor of the defendant in this case for that $300 for the X-rays. Now, let me deal with your issues in terms of suing him. When you invite him, I don't get the sense, because you said it yourself, I don't know anything about breakers or anything like that. So it makes sense to me that you would ask him or some other guy. But if everybody was drinking and everybody was having a good time, out of all the people, my sense is that you were like, well, let me ask him because he's probably going to be the most responsible. If you ask him, which tells me that he probably wasn't drinking as much. And if you're all in the dark and you're in the moment of, oh, we got to get this going, it makes sense that you would ask him. So then you can't then turn around and sue him for the damage. It doesn't work that way. And legally, you don't have a basis on which to stand. So your case is dismissed, and that is the order.
Thank
We're
you,
done
Your
here.
Honor.
Judge Ross has ruled in favor of the defendant, and he is awarded $300 in his countersuit.
I'm thrilled with the judgment. I'm glad she's paying for my medical bills.
I shouldn't have to be paying for the x-rays or for the damage to my family's cabin.
Follow America's Court on Facebook and Twitter. This has been a production of Entertainment Studios.